Jungle. Ah!
Hey everyone, Dave here at bluebearsgames, and welcome back to another episode of Blues Budget Battle Brews. This week's deck is called Arachnophobia. It is a green and black spider tribal themed deck. Okay, so if you are afraid of spiders, turn away now. This deck is nothing but. All right. Before I start going over the deck, if you do not know what the Blues Budget Battle Brews are about and would like to know more about them, please go and watch the explanation video. I have put a link to the video in the description of this video, and also the card at the top right of this video will be a direct link to the explanation video. The explanation video will tell you all you need to know about what this series is all about, and there's also a nice little giveaway announcement towards the end of the video that may interest you, so please go check it out if you have not already done so. One more last thing before I get started. I have to do this with every video just because people just still haven't gotten it, that I do this. I want to mention that while this deck is not sleeved, I can assure you that I have washed my hands thoroughly before starting this video. For those of you who are concerned about these cards being ruined, please understand, I handle all of my cards that I own as if they each were a Black Lotus, and I constantly clean my hands before handling any of them, and that includes during the deck building process. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's go over the deck. So Arachnophobia, again, spider tribal theme. So this deck is the antithesis to the blue flying deck, okay? So one of the things that this deck started from is, I've started playing Magic in 1993. One of the cards out back then was Giant Spider. It has blossomed into every single spider in this game now has the same ability. As far as I'm aware, they all have the same ability. And that is Reach. Reach means that it doesn't fly, but it can block creatures with flying. That's the most important part of this deck. This is why, excuse me, that is why this is the antithesis to a flying deck. That includes, excuse me, things like blue, who have a lot of cheap blue flyers, white, who has a lot of angels. This deck kind of goes in the direction of stopping that while also being able to do other things. So we start off with a Chain Web Arachner. It's our 1-drop. It's a 1 to cast, 1/2 with Reach. Right off the bat, a 1 to cast, 1/2 Reach is pretty good, but it has more. When it enters the battlefield, it deals damage equal to its power to target creature with flying an opponent controls. So it can come into play and deal, at its base, it can deal 1 damage to a creature with flying. Not always that great, but I did a video last week where there was a 1 to cast 1/1 flyer. It would kill it. Okay? It also has Escape, and the Escape cost is 2 green and 3. And what that means is if it's in your graveyard, you can exile 4 other cards from your graveyard and bring it from your graveyard into play, and it counts as if though you cast it. And here's the best part. When it escapes with 3 +1/+1 counters on it. So if it escapes from your graveyard, it ends up being not a 1/2, but a 4/5. So it deals 4 damage to a creature with flying. So keep that in mind when you're playing this. I only put 2 in there because I only had 2. Up next, Deadly Recluse. 2 to cast, 1/2 with Reach and Death Touch. What that means is any creature that has flying it blocks, because it can, it will kill it. Unless, of course, it has Indestructible or something else that keeps it alive. So I got a play set of those in there. Glowstone Recluse. 3 to cast, 2/3. Again, another spider. It has Mutate, and its Mutate cost is 1 green and 3 of any. If you don't know what Mutate is, I'm going to go ahead and put this here so you can read it. It's actually an interesting mechanic. It's a little confusing at first, so if you have any questions about how the Mutate works, just go ahead and send me a message. I'll go ahead and explain it further. But again, it's a spider, so it has Reach, and then whenever this creature mutates, you can put a 2 +1/+1 counters on it. So it starts off as a 2/3. If it mutates and you put this on top, it's a 2/3. But if it mutated, it's a 4/5. So they like that number on spiders, 4/5. So I got 2 of them in there. The Aristocrat style, and I'll explain Aristocrat to you guys if you need to. Just ask me, and I'll go ahead and do that. Is Obelisk Spider. This is in here so that if you don't, like, if the board is clogged, you have other ways of doing damage to your opponent without having to worry about combat. So it's a 3 to cast, so it's black, black or green and 1. It's a 1/4, so it has a big ass. It's a spider, so it has reach. And when it deals combat damage to a creature, you put a -1/-1 counter on that creature. Okay? And then whenever you put one or more -1/-1 counters on a creature, each opponent loses a life and you gain a life. And that's important to remember because a little later I'm going to show you a couple cards that do that for you without having to be the obelisk spider. So I got 2 of them in there. I'm sorry, I got a play set of them in there just because that's an important part of the theme. And remember, if you have 2 obelisk spiders out and something gets a -1/-1 counter, that triggers twice. The gain a life or lose a life and gain a life. That triggers more than once for each one out. So keep that in mind. Up next, my 4-drop was a Blight Widow. It's a 4 to cast, 2/4 with reach, and infect. Look at that. It deals damage in the form of -1/-1 counters. A little synergy there. Not combo, synergy. Keep that in mind. Play set of those. I need to find out where I can get more of these from. I want to make this deck over and over and over again, and it really does have a nice little synergy with being death touchy and -1/-1 countery and all this stuff. Castig Recluse is one of my favorite inclusions in here just because there's not many of these. I think it was printed 1 time, and I can't seem to find many more. So what I have in here is what I had. It's a 4 to cast, 2/3, reach, and death touch. So if you didn't notice, I like the whole idea of being able to kill your opponent's creatures in multiple different ways. And this is one of the better ways. So you don't have to worry about whether or not they fly or not. You don't care. It kills them. So I've got a play set of those in there. The first rare is Arasta of the Endless Web. It's 4 to cast. It's a 3/5. Again, it's a spider, so it has reach. And whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell at all, you get to create a 1/2 spider creature token with reach. So even more spiders coming out. So, and I want to make a mention that if you do purchase a deck and you want an upgrade, the first option I would choose as a 4-drop is I would put more of these in there. That's just the first suggestion I have. Up next is Silk Lash Spider. It's a 5 to cast, 2/7, and man, that's a big ass. Again, it's a spider, so it has reach, and then it has an ability that's pretty cool. 2 green and X, and you can do this multiple times in a turn if you want. You're not going to, but you could. So it's an ability that can be used at instant speed, and you can do it during any opponent's turn if you want, or your turn, doesn't matter. Silk Lash Spider deals X damage to each creature with flying. Notice how nothing in this deck has flying, so your creatures are safe. And if you're going up against any deck that has a lot of flyers, this guy is beast. And he's only 5 to cast and a 2/7, so he's hard to kill too. The foil for the deck, since I like to try to get at least a rare foil in each one of my decks, is Sweet Gum Recluse. It's a 6 to cast spider with a 0/3 in reach. Has Cascade, and if you need to know how Cascade works, just let me know. It's basically when you cast it, you flip over cards until you get to a non-land card that has a lesser cost. So this is 6, so anything 5 or less, and you may play that card for free. It has reach, and then when it enters the battlefield, put 3 +1/+1 counters on each of any number of target creatures that entered the battlefield this turn. So basically the Cascade puts a creature out, because remember, things work in a reverse order in Magic. The Cascade goes off before he comes into play. So if a creature comes into play, it comes into play and it gets the 3 +1/+1 counters. So that's how that works. That's the basics for it. If you need any more information, just let me know. And the last creature, I believe, is Hatchery Spider. It's a 7 to cast, 5/7, again a spider, with reach. And one of the other abilities for these guys is Undergrowth. So when you cast this spell, reveal the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. You may put a green permanent card with converted mana cost X or less from among them on the battlefield, and put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. It's a pseudo Cascade. This one is anyway. It's kind of like Cascade, where when you cast it, you can go and flip over X cards, and it's basically the same thing, but it's just explained a little differently. All right, outside of the creatures, the non-creatures. Virulent Wound. Remember how I said earlier that the -1/-1 counter thing is a little bit more prominent? So you have the Infect guy, who's a spider. Now you have this where it puts a -1/-1 counter on a creature, and when that creature is put into a graveyard from the battlefield this turn, its controller gets a poison counter. Don't worry about the poison counter. You're not going to be able to kill anybody with poison counters. Even though I do believe that spiders should have infect or some type of way to make poison counters. Not all of them do, and that theme won't really work. This is in here just so that you can use the -1/-1 counter theme to go with the obelisk spider. So play set of those. Grotesque Demise, pretty simple. It's a 3 to cast instant that exiles target creature with power 3 or less. No muss, no fuss, just gets rid of them. Play set of those. Liturgy of Blood. It's a 5 to cast, and I know it's a little high, but just wait. It's a 5 to cast. It says destroy target creature, and then you add 3 black mana to your mana pool. So essentially, this ends up being a 2 to cast targeted creature removal. Play set of those. Oblivion Strike, it's 4 to cast. It has the Void, so anything that has protection from black, this doesn't matter. And you can exile target creature, and that's important for things that are a little pain in the ass. They keep coming back from the grave. This takes care of that for you. There's a play set of those in there. And then the rest are just swamps, forests, 2 Evolving Wilds for mana fixing. If you don't know what that means or what I mean by that, go ahead and let me know. I'll explain it more. And then 4 Gold Gary Gilgates, because, you know, it's the dual land for this colors. So, anyway, that is my Arachnophobia deck. Hopefully, you know, if you're interested in something like this, you got something out of it. If not, let me know. Give me suggestions if there's something that I did wrong. But anyway, thank you for taking the time to watch and learn about this little brew. It's one of my, you know, newer ones I just came up with recently. Please remember to show your support for the channel and to me by liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and if you have not done so yet, and sharing this out through your various forms of social media. That could be Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, doesn't really matter. Specifically, I would appreciate if you share it to possibly somebody who may be interested in a deck like this, whether it be to learn about a build that's similar to this or like this or even this itself, or if they may possibly be interested in purchasing it. The explanation video goes over all of the pricing. I will go ahead and well, speaking of purchasing, if you or someone you know may possibly be interested in purchasing this or any of my Blues Budget Battle Brew decks, the pricing is quite friendly. Each deck is $20, and then I'm still playing around with the, you know, whether or not I'm going to do it with free shipping or if I'm going to do a discounted price and then add shipping. We'll figure that. But $20 is the highest you're going to pay for a deck. Okay, so it's $20 plus shipping, which is only a couple bucks. It's like $5 or $6. And then I offer I'm still playing around whether or not I offer the considerable discount, which would make it $15 a deck and then shipping, or if I just want to do away with that confusing stuff, excuse me, and then make every deck $20, but after the first deck, shipping's free and I'll cover that. So we're still going over that, but you let me know what you want. So if you or anyone you know may be interested, please just contact me in any way that you can. I've got them all up there. The easiest way to do so is there's a link to my Facebook page in the description of this video. You can go there. I'm actually going to have a link to this deck on my new Facebook store, and then there's a button there that says message seller. You can go ahead and do it that way. You can go to email bluebearsgames@gmail.com, or you can put a comment in the comment section below, and we can kind of go from there. I have about 25 plus decks that I'm going to be selling. I only have a few of the videos done at this point. I will have more going as we go. But on the Facebook page, each deck I will be making, I've already made the decks, I just haven't made the videos. But each deck that I'll be selling, I'll have it on the Facebook. I have it on Facebook Marketplace, but I also have it on my Facebook store. So again, just go look and see if there's anything there. If there is something that you would like to see that I have not made yet, I take suggestions. Last week I had the No Pain, No Gain deck. That was a suggestion for a purchase. So obviously I'm more than happy to talk with you over different strategies and decks that I can make and make them for that budgetary, you know, price range, and it makes me happy to be able to do it. It's one of my passions, so that would be great if you wanted to do that as well. I'm flexible, and I really do like the interaction for the channel, and I like being able to go over all that with everybody, so that would be great. Either way, that's my time for the week. I want to thank you again for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. That's really important as far as the analytics go. And again, if you have any questions, comments, or even suggestions, go ahead and contact me through the Facebook page or the email, or even the comment section below. I'll be more than happy to go over anything you would like. Until next week, stay safe, enjoy your week, and I will see you all then.